Jesus. I don't know if you guys just heard me clear my throat, but that's what it's gonna be like today. A little bit under the weather from jet lag and allergies. It was 30, no, it was like 29 this morning. It is 71 now. Welcome to Appalachia. So, y'all know how this works. Sorry for missing yesterday's and not streaming at all when I said I was going to last week on vacation. It's just like by the time I woke up, it would have been 10 p.m. here. No, it would have been noon here. So like it was not going to work out. The way this is going to work is that you guys just drop your questions in the chat and I will answer them. The more you guys ask questions, the more entertaining this usually is. So a lot of this is on you. It's a back day today, and we'll just go from there. Zindrix, how's my day going? I'm still a bit jet lagged, but it's going pretty good. I've started cutting again, so I'm a bit groggy from that. I'm trying to cut caffeine at the same time. But, it is what it is. How was vacation? Unironically, it taught me a lot, and particularly that I carry most of my stress in my body. So, like, once I finally got to Maui and was able to relax, I literally started to expand physically. So there was shirts that were relatively well fitted to begin with and then got too tight by the end of it just because I was able to actually let my muscles fill with liquid and water and everything else like that. So it was really weird. Additionally, when it comes to PE, my wife constantly commented on how much bigger my dick has gotten throughout the week then. So like there's something generally wrong with my lifestyle now that puts me in these chronic stress states that are not optimal, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. Let's see. Have you tried BPC 157 for PE or any other peptides that had any effect? I did try BPC 157. I had decent gains in the first week, but I was unable to replicate it since. So I'm just going to write it off as either I was measuring differently or I had a placebo. Um, what else? IGF-1's fun, but it's not really going to be for PE. Main thing you're looking for is stuff that can speed up healing, but remember, there's only so many peptides that we can take, or there's only so many stem cells in the penis. So like even if we stimulate them all to the max, there's only going to be so much tissue production. So should really be looking for stuff that increases stem cell proliferation and density in the tissues so we can actually grow long term. So, dude, when you're talking on stream, it sounded like your stress dropped off a cliff. Do you meditate? I didn't meditate for a while, that's for sure. I try to like be more open-minded, not open-minded, present-minded than meditate. Um, I do know I need to start reading more because that just forces my brain to slow down. But like that's a lot of it is just getting myself to slow the fuck down. And I think a lot of it is actually because I don't um I abuse energy drinks. So like I would take 2 to 3 servings of caffeine or energy drinks servings of caffeine, so 200 milligrams 3 times a day. So like I was always constantly wired, and I never actually was able to tell when I was getting tired. So there's a lot to it, but Zindrix, should I keep my skin unretracted? So if you're uncircumcised, I think you want to have your glands exposed because otherwise you're going to start pulling a lot of edema in the foreskin. But like I can't really give you much help because I am uncut. So I would assume if you just have the foreskin retracted, it's going to lead to better results. Do you know if a girl is supposed to bleed after sex or is all different for girls? So women should rarely bleed after sex, period. Like, unless you broke their hymen, that's the only real time they should bleed. Otherwise, you're being a bit too rough. Or they have like a cyst somewhere in their reproductive system, and then sex kind of aggravates the cyst and it bleeds. So if you're not having particularly hard sex, I would tell your girl to go to a OGBYN and tell them that they bleed during sex, and she's probably going to need a whole slew of tests. Now, if they're virgins, crane, it doesn't happen all the time. Like a hymen can burst pretty easily. So like you could technically do it like the old thing medieval times wise is like if a woman rides a horse, their hymen will burst because of the up and down. But like for example, if they use tampons, if they play contact sports, their hymen can burst pretty easily. It's not like going to be um, that common. So, and also if they use tampons, there's a decent chance that their hymen will burst as well. So like honestly, bleeding first time doesn't really happen all that much anymore. Flopson. Do you have a tip for choosing a condom size? Does nominal width matter a lot? Dude, I haven't bought condoms in a decade, so I can't really help you all that much. Um, Basically, you want to do like my size condoms. If you're looking for custom fit, it's pretty good. They have a size calculator there. You probably want to be a little bit more snug than anything else. You mean BDUR cut? I mean, I'm a little chubby at the moment. Just, I figured out that bread actually causes me to bloat a lot. Unless you're talking about circumcised, then yes, I am circumcised. But I got this bit of pouch to lose here. But, you know, I'm not really beating myself up over it. I can lose in like, I don't know, 5 to 6 weeks, hopefully. And if you're not wondering what the knee strap is exactly what you think it is. Zoinks just changed to vac extending after using the male hanger for over a year. Is it normal to get edema fluid to build up around the top part of the shaft below the glands? No, that's normal. So like think of it as like a mini penis pump. That edema is going to settle somewhere. And if that part of the glands is getting sucked in, then it's going to expand along with the pressure. Hello, donkey teeth. C-ring sizing. Any tipping for holding max pressure without pinching it off? I have one that seems to be overkill. I don't really have a suggestion other than trial and error. There's a reason why we sell 3-packs at Peak Mouth Physique. One, cost. It's easier to send you 3 than it is to send you 1. And 2, because it's going to be a preference-based thing. So like I can still squeeze into the smallest rings at Peak Mouth Physique with a 7-inch base girth. That's going to be more for like clamping. The middle ring, same thing. It's going to be a little bit more like clamping. The largest ring is what I would use for retention wear. I don't have the numbers on top of, like, off the top of my head right now, but like, if we just assume my base girth is 2 1/4, the inner diameter of our largest rings is about 1 inch. So you're looking with that kind of ring in particular, about a 60% difference, 160% ratio. So. Also, Vigor came in today, supposed to use it before the gym, and what happens if I don't go to the gym that day? I mean, you can use it right before PE. That's what I assume a lot of guys do it for. I particularly take it right in the morning, and then honestly, right before the stream, I take it twice a day. But in general, those effects last like 5 to 6 hours. So if you take it right before your gym workout, and then do PE right after, you'll get the effects from it as well. And you don't need to take it every day if you're just doing it for the workout effects. But like if you're doing it for the potential PE effects, then you probably want to take it every day. Oh, speaking of, guys, I have a business meeting at 4, so I'm gonna have to end this abruptly at like 3:30. The BFR rings are 1 1 1/8, and 1 1/4 inch diameter. Is that inner or outer diameter? Footwell does. Can I still do PE after I jerk off? I feel the penis gets fatigued too quickly when I do. Inner. Well, that's good to know, Red. Me and Red got to figure this shit out. This is the reason why I want to bring on another shipper, Red, so you can help me get all this other stuff figured out. But what were we saying? I don't even remember. Okay, PE, fatigue from jerking off. I noticed the days where I am a naughty boy and jerk off too much, I have erectile issues and pelvic floor issues the next couple days. So, off you go, little spider. I would refrain from jerking off until after you do PE, or at least ejaculating. One thing I don't like about working out in this basement is the lack of space. I will say that. Um, Tamor, hello BD, long time no see. Is a calorie surplus going to help PE gains faster? Not at all. It's a question of wound healing. As long as you're not in starvation mode, your body will prioritize healing more than like bodybuilding, right? So, muscle building. As long as you are not in a huge ass deficit of greater than 30%, you'll be fine. A surplus won't do much except probably max out erection quality. I just noticed like when I'm bulking, I have much better erection quality than when I'm not. Let's see. What cavitation device I'm using or we're using. It's brand AOKO on AliExpress, but like again, they all come out of the same factory. So I wouldn't be too worried about the brand. You just want to be getting one that has decent reviews. And the larger ones seem to heat up faster, so you'd need 15 minutes with it rather than 20. That's like the main difference. Jeff Hayes, does vaping interfere with PE? And how do I know if I'm doing enough with manuals? Well, it's hard to tell like how much to pull with manuals. That being said, you can look at how floppy you are after the session. So like if you're nice and floppy after the session, you're doing enough work. If you're contracted afterwards, you're doing too much work. And if there's no real difference in your flaccid state for the next 5 to 10 minutes after the session, then you didn't do enough work. Now, as for vaping, I don't know how much it messes with PE. I know nicotine is a bit of a vasoconstrictor, so that can help or hurt PE. But a lot of the actual issues from cigarettes come from all the pollutants and toxins outside of nicotine. So whatever's in your vape could potentially hurt PE as well, but I don't know too many of the specifics on that. Okay, this is moving faster than I thought it is. Uh, there's only thanks. I wasn't sure if there's only gland supposed to be in the vacuum cup. Since the fluid, yeah, you're good. Like, if you look at Total Man, his cups are literally uh like all gland and then like an inch of shaft, depending on how big it is. So like it doesn't really matter as long as your glands stay put in the bell. Do beginner gains have any impact in relation to non-beginner gains? I gained 1/4 of an inch in 5 pumping sessions across 10 days. I wonder if I'm building a monster. More than likely not. Most of the time, newbie gains are erection quality gains. So like depending on how fast that happens, like, you know, how piss poor your erection quality was to begin with, it's not going to lead to more gains with PE long term. Now, how fast you gain in your first 8 months may have a better correlation, but like it's way too early to tell what exactly you are, if you're a super responder or not. I mean, yeah, you'll still make gains if you vape. It's just it might be hurting you long term. Donkey teeth, don't you have like a lymphoseal? Okay, yeah. It felt like a worm in my D and it went away after a few days. How long should I take off? You could probably start pumping now. Just don't wear a cock ring for the next month or so, and then you could try again. If you get the lymphoseal again, then you can't wear a cock ring after pumping. Okay, Sam. Hey, BD. Just started using, or just started pumping recently. I'm doing interval pumping once. Should I be staying at the desired interval for 2 minutes for the whole interval? Like, keep pumping as it loses pressure? Yes. So as you expand, you'll fill up more of the tube. Therefore, you need to increase more pressure. It's that simple. So as long as your cylinder doesn't have a leak, which is kind of easy to get a leak. Let's say you don't shave your skin, shave your hair that well, or your line is not well connected, you might have a minor leak. But other than that, you should be having to increase the pressure like every 30 seconds to a minute, just a bit. So one thing I am trying, and I already told Red that I'm calling this mass days, or like massive pain in the ass days. So basically, I'm trying to stay inflamed and elongated practically all day. So like right now I'm wearing an all day stretcher, which is making me choose different workouts here than I would normally. But like the goal is to have this all day stretcher on for like 6 hours, get at least 3 pumping sessions in with my actual PE routine. And I'm going to see how much that changes my fatigue tomorrow. Because I feel like this is a lot of work, but like it's also doing a lot of shape training at the same time. I'm not saying anyone to do this yet, but that's what I'm doing, at least for today. Come on. Do you use pair of thieves underwear when you want most optimal blood flow for pelvic area? I wear pouch underwear. It's from Hanes. That's it. There's probably nothing crazy or any real requirements. I just like the pouch because like I need more space than most men down there. So it just works better for me. But it probably doesn't really matter all that much as long as you're not wearing like really small underwear, like really tight underwear, like misfitted underwear. Destroyer, about cavitation devices, I don't think I'd be able to sell them because they are potentially dangerous, and that sounds like a really good way to get the FDA on my ass. So, like, I can say what I'm selling now is just sex toys, but the cavitation device, there's no way I could just reasonably see an American seller being able to skirt around it. Where are my grips? What about Petitia? You're getting that a lot. So Petitia is more of a matter how fast you pump up more than anything else, and then how much pressure you're using. So pump up slower, potentially use less pressure, and then you could try L-citrulline-based supplements to help with that, because it's a matter of dilating the skin. Where are my Versa grips? I don't think I took them to another place. We might have to just deal today, guys, without them. Oh yeah, I see them. Timor, is it true Kegels are bad in any way? I feel like I do them, blood gets to the junk faster. So the problem with Kegels is that if you don't balance them out with reverse Kegels or pelvic floor stretching, you can get a tight pelvic floor, and that's going to lead to worse erection quality. So you need balance more than anything else. So if you're going to do Kegels, it really depends on if you actually need them or not. But if you're going to do Kegels, I would say make sure you do some kind of pelvic floor stretching. You can find them on the shorts of my channel, or do reverse Kegels. I really need to get into the swing of making shorts too. Okay, what about Petitia? Okay, I have a baseball bead at the top half. Packs the pump, but the bottom doesn't. Should I size up? That's a tough one. That I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty uncommon. Like baseball D bats, yeah, baseball bat dicks exist, but I don't think they're usually that extreme. It couldn't hurt to size up, but you might just want to wear like a silicone sleeve around the top half of your dick to limit the expansion, so that way your bottom half can actually expand. Okay. That's better. Okay. You got to stretch your back. Me? I've been working on that. Unless you're talking about my half-assed rows right now. I'm really not into it at the moment. This is my second workout today, so. What? I'm not even going to touch that one. Okay, transitioning from manuals to hanging. Should I do the same interval routine in your guide, or should I be cresting with more weight or more sets? Okay, so you can jump to whatever guide you're talking about. I'm assuming it's the interval length protocol. The main thing is you're only going to want to start at like 2 pounds to start. You'll know if it's too light within the first 3 sessions, and then you can go up to 5 pounds. I'm assuming if you did manuals, it's more so that we're trying to make sure the skin doesn't blister by starting at 2.5 pounds and then going to 5 pounds. Get some conditioning that way. But more than likely, you'll be fine just switching to the interval length protocol that's in the guide that you're talking about. Did I put on more weight? I guess we'll do that after this. My bicep tendon feeling a little funny. Oh, that's great. It's not like I popped or anything. I just can feel a tension in it. Okay. That is weird. All right, I'm gonna not push the weight too much. I'll get to your guys' questions in a second. Okay. Wait, so you're doing PE 24/7 now? No, just for today, and it's really only like retention for 6 hours, and then this is like my normal routine as well. So I'm just adding 6 hours of all-day stretcher wear to see if it does anything. I'm hoping it does, but you know, I'm not going to be too pressed if it doesn't. My pump loses pressure slowly, but almost certainly necessitating a hand squeeze every couple seconds. Do you have suggestions for correcting this? First, make sure you got enough lube at the base to make sure your skin's getting a nice even seal. Then with your tube, you could try to tighten the white valve at the top. Then if that's still an issue, make sure there's not a hole in your valve or, you know, your line to connect the pump to the pump handle. Then you could see if it's the pump handle by taking the pump handle off the cylinder. And then if you're still losing pressure after doing all of that, you have an issue with your valve and you probably want to talk to whoever you bought it from. Donkey Teeth, does that mean BD has a reverse baseball bat D? Yeah, so like my first few photos of vlogging, I was like 5.25 mid shaft and then 6.5 base. So like it's literally just a straight up cone dick, like a traffic cone. But after some, like we can call it spot training, I'm like at 6.25 girth and 7 inches base. So like it's not as noticeable, and since my ball sack's in the way, you can't really tell. But like yeah, it was pretty bad for the most part. It's still significant, but not as crazy. I think I figured out what the guy was talking about when he meant by stretch the lats. Ugh. Just saying, fuck you, dude. I don't want to do it. Then hold, hold, and the group gave out. So that's good for now. I'll get the actual stretch after that. It's a bit hard to do like any held stretches without setup. Now I would have to like redo it all. So when I do pull-ups, I'll do hanging at the end to like really stretch it out. Okay, hold on. Name, do you think it's any benefit taking a couple small breaks like every 10 days to a couple months, or just wait to do a full decon? I say to do a deload every 6 to 8 weeks where you basically don't do any PE for a week, and then that allows your tissues to fully recover from the workload. So it's a lot like any good training program. You're going to hit a point where you generated so much fatigue that your body needs time to fully recover. Same idea with penis enlargement. Okay, Donkey Teeth and tube. How do you know when it's time to upgrade? So I say if you can pack your tube in 10 minutes, or more like 20 minutes, but like, if you can fill most of the tube within the first 10 minutes, you're going to need a bigger tube to continually see gains. And then what you do, first 10 minutes in the old tube, 10 minutes in the new tube, if you're trying to gain girth. Also, could you look into a PMP auto pump? I don't know how much a custom one built is designed for interval pumping at 10 inches of mercury, or, inches of mercury instead would be better. So I do have a lot of plans, but right now we finally got caught up on stock. I'm more focused on getting the vibrator out because it's simple. No need for coding or anything like that. But I have been looking into it aggressively. And then, Crane, do you think protein powder is a good source of protein? I'm not getting enough from other sources. So I drink 50 grams of protein powder a day. So I get 50 grams of whey protein every day. I also get 200 grams on top of that, though, from other sources, whether it be steak, eggs, chicken, whatever. So in general, you probably don't want to be over supplementing your diet with whey protein just because you're going to be lacking other nutrients. But at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter all that much. I just think you get pretty sick of whey after a while. Like, I drank so much of Cellucor whey that I became allergic to it. So anytime it got into my stomach, I would get aggressively ill. But any other whey protein, not an issue. It might have just been the flavoring. Is that a better stretch? Problem is I'm not engaging my lower back as much in this position. Ugh. But 6 hours a day, holy crap, yeah, I know. That's why I'm calling it the mass days or massive pain in the ass. But like, I'm slowly growing like a weed. This is more so to see if I can kick it into another gear by doing this. Sorry, I have to catch my breath. But like after this session today, I was like a hair under 10 inches stretch flaccid. That's pretty insane, right? So that tells me that I have enough tissue to hit 10 pretty soon, right? It's just a matter of training the shape potentially. So like at the very least, if this works and it's shape trains, that could be like 9.5 by the end of next month. Like erect, no issue, or with no assistance, which would be huge. But you know, I'm not too worried about it. Wow, that made me like sick to my stomach. Just thinking about that silly core way made me sick to my stomach. That's kind of ridiculous. Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay, so if you bought it from us, just email us at help@peakmalphysique. We will send you whatever we think the problem is, whether it be the white valve at the top or a new handle. Name. I'm on a powerlifting program right now. On my heavy squat and deadlift, I can never hit 2% bone press stretch flaccid post workout. That's interesting. That is actually really interesting. So basically, since he's training so hard and stimulating his nervous system so much, he's actually getting a stress retraction from it. And that's going to last a bit after the fact. So like, I'm usually pretty tense for like the next 3 to 4 hours after a big deadlift session. And what you're telling me is either A, you're really flexing the shit out of your pelvic floor when you squat, especially at that weight. I don't think you can avoid it. And 2, you're having a really strong nervous system response as well. It won't really impact PE, but like personally, I would push back PE as far as possible from those heavy lifts. So that way you don't have to worry about having a stressed out dick while you do PE, because it's a bit of an uphill battle. Tamor, are you okay? You seem sick. I'm okay. I think it's just my allergies. And remember, I just flew a 15-hour flight a day and a half ago, so I'm still a bit under that as well. Hanging question follow-up. I was doing the manual routine from the Ultimate Beginner's Guide. I meant, should I follow the routine with hanging, or should I just follow some other progression plan? Okay, so if you bought the book, just move to the hanging routine. If you didn't buy the book, I have to write the script for hanging, but like that video is only going to take me like 10 to 20 minutes to film, so it'll be out sometime next week. So you can sit tight until then. But if you have the book, just go do the hanging routine. I'm going to get some water so I can clear my throat. I'll be right back, guys. I'm back. I don't know if you could hear my heavy breathing, but Solace, what's up, BD? I gained 2 centimeters with pumping in 6 months. Congratulations. I will begin vacuum hanging soon. What is a realistic goal within 6 months of vacuum hanging? Well, dude, I would like to say you could gain a half an inch, reasonably speaking, in 6 months. So that's going to be a little bit less than a tenth of an inch every month. But like, it's not unheard of to gain a lot more than that. I wouldn't expect it just because you gained so much with pumping already that you probably maxed out your newbie gains. But if you're a super responder, all bets are off. Zero. If you said dick, like, or anything that's not PG-13, or actually more like PG, it will not show up, so get a bit more creative. Zero. Thoughts on the study of injecting vasodilators into the PP? They saw growth in the patients. I'm not sure if there's actually a study, more so that there was a patent for a system that did that. And that's 2 completely different things. Patents can make up whatever the fuck they want. Studies, you know, have at least some more scrutiny to them. Now, PGE-1 fucking sucks when it's injected. I get such painful erections. I have done it a handful of times. One of the worst pains of my life. It is just radiating pain from my dick, but this is pure PGE-1. So like, if you try something that's either more pure, like get a better source, or like Trimix, which has different kind of vasodilators, so it's a lot less painful. Either way, very high risk and not really worth it for PE. You can get the same effects from pumping and clamping, to be honest. Obi-Wan Kenobi, BD, I'm forced to skip training days due to overwork from the previous session, but I always realize I have the fatigue after I've completed the tourniquet warm-up and then move on to the main exercises. Can you please tell me that what are the signs of I'm overworked and without having to waste my time by doing the main exercises so that I need to rest? So if you're doing tunica release, it's not really supposed to fatigue you all that much. One of the current contestants on the Gainathon, Akun, basically sees a 2% increase from just doing stretched, flaccid, or, the tunica release afterwards. So I don't think, like, your actual pre-session size is the whatever it was to begin with. It's going to be something in between whatever your tunica release was and the pre-stretched flaccid. So for you, I would be looking more at how much weight I'm using and how much time I am hanging. At the beginning, you only really need 10 to 20 minutes of hanging and at most 5 pounds. So start with there and then troubleshoot with frequency there too. I'm not going to do another set of these. I got to do pull-ups, which is going to be a bit dangerous with what I have attached to my leg right now. During a deload week, should you still do any pumps or any form of stretches? I would say you probably are okay with doing like feeder sets for pumping, but like if you do stretching, that's going to create some mechanical fatigue and defeat the purpose. So on paper, you're going to need at least 3 days off. Don't touch your dick. I mean, like you can masturbate and shit, but like don't do PE. Or then after those 3 or 4 days off, you can do some feeder sets to like, prime yourself to get back into it. But like, honestly, I think a week off without doing anything is probably best. It's just really tempting to pump, It's instant gratification. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Red. I got grass-fed and mixed some vegan plants to not gag. What do you mean? What's wrong with grass-fed beef, dude? I mean, like, I can understand that some people have like minor intolerance to it, but like there are so many different kinds of meat. You don't have to force feed yourself ground beef just because I eat a lot of beef. Jesus. Sorry, like I'm really caught off guard of how much I expanded over vacation. So like when I see myself, I'm still like, I can't believe that's me at the moment. Have a good rest of your workout. I'm trying just not to be sick right now, but I'll. Okay, Leo. Hey, BD. Hope all is well. What are signs of hypertonic pelvic floor? Okay, well, you answered yourself with one premature ejaculation, just because that muscles are tight. Therefore, it doesn't take much to set off an ejaculation response. Really shriveled, flaccid, and then you have difficulty getting erections and holding erections. So basically, if you do a deep squat and you feel a lot of tension in your taint doing that, or frog pose or prayer pose, that's going to be your best sign because you'll be able to actually feel the stress there. You have to focus on your taint. Like if you're focusing more like on your quads and stuff, you're not really going to feel it. But if you actually focus on your butt cheeks, essentially, you'll feel it a lot better. BD, I have more stretch flaccid gains. Is this good? Yeah. So any changes to the tissue is a good sign, right? That means you either got more flexible, therefore your erections can be bigger currently, or you put on new tissue. So either way, it's a positive. I think that's all I got for that set. Oh, man, my phone is just blowing up right now. So what the hell, 10 inches, bro? You might get to 15 inches. I mean, if I let the dark side of my brain win, that would be like the end goal. But I doubt my wife will let me. And at the same time, I do want to be a normal human for the most part. So like wear normal clothes, and I prefer tight fitting clothes just because I take up a lot of space as it is. If I wear like a big shirt, it just looks like a tent. So I wear tight clothes for that reason. And yeah, I generally don't see myself getting past like 10.5 inches bone pressed, but you know, can't never say never. Hey BD, did you send me those bells? I would assume so if you talk to my customer service team. Let's see, Jack, Jack Hoff. I get 2 to 2.5% fatigue from manuals, and I never reach 4 to 6. Is that enough for gains? So manuals are a bit different, right? So you can only generate so much weight and time with manual. So you'll never probably hit 4 to 6%. But if you're hitting 2 to 2.5% after a session, you got it down. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. Is my flaccid supposed to be longer immediately after a manual training session? Yeah, you should be long, floppy, and a little bit hot after most manual sessions. So I've been using the pump, and I noticed when lubed up, the dorsal shaft presses hard against the glass when not lubed. The vein doesn't press against the glass. I have an upwards curve. Thoughts? So I have an upwards curve. My dick is always pressed against the glass. One of the main reasons why I use lube is so that way it can go against the glass easily. If you're using vibrations, that's probably going to be a prerequisite that your top of your shaft touches the glass. I would not be too worried about it. Compressing the dorsal nerve, not dorsal nerve, dorsal vein, probably not that big of a deal either. Because again, that blood's not supposed to go anywhere anyway. And since you're compressing like the whole thing down a little bit instead of one spot, you're not going to really cause a rupture. Okay, Tamor. So you understand, I am 230 pounds, 6'1", 9-inch cock. Like, I am already very high up there when it comes to masculinity. I still need to be able to use that functionality, right? So, like, even if I get up to, like, say, 12 inches, there's no way I'm going to be able to go balls deep. And any sex that I do have would be very limited. So there's, like, no real point other than, like, just saying I did it than anything else. BD, can you attempt to do a full set with max intensity? You do a ton of volume, but low intensity from the way it seems. I mean, like, I don't like training with lower weights because that puts a lot of stress on my joints. I don't have the most healthy joints. It's just how I am. Like, my mom got arthritis at a very young age, and I've been dealing with a lot of hip and knee issues this year. So, like, I'm just not really pushing it. And, like, honestly, as long as I'm getting enough tension and everything else, I'm good. But today I'm like actually sick, so I'm just more like just going through the motions than anything else. If I wanted to go hard, I would. It's just I don't really feel up to it right now. Is it okay? Is doing tissue building, interval pumping daily okay if your EQ isn't dropping? It's a spectrum, right? So like you can do 15 to 20 minutes of interval pumping every day. It just might not be that optimal compared to doing it every other day and then doing like feeder sets on the off days. So like if you modulate your intensity, you'll probably get better results. But you can do it every day if you want to keep it simple. I keep trying to do pull-ups. And another issue, Tamor, is that I'm still learning how to use these grips, so like I still slide too much. Not so much an issue with pull-ups, but like with barbells and stuff, that slips and then I can't really do more weight or sets. And I'm also going into a cut and I feel like garbage, but you know. Oh. How long does it take, or how long, excuse me, how long should a deconditioning break be if I mainly focus on length? Can I train girth during the decon? So what I do is I split between length and girth anywhere from 6 months to a year. So that way I'm always really fresh for either one. Ideally, you still want to do a deconditioning break like every 2 years, but it's probably not that big of a deal if you time your switches right. And hello, Tony. PG, thanks for the content you're putting out. Keep it up. I'm trying. I was ahead for vacation. Now I'm actually a little bit behind. But, you know, I'll be fine. You'll get a lot of content from me either way. Just wondering, I switched my home routine to 20 minutes of 1 minute manual stretches to fatigue after, followed by 15 minutes of pumping. Does this work for length or do I need more? You might be doing actually too much pumping. Like right now, my guy, I am only doing 30 minutes total of extending. And like I've been growing like a weed. Granted, a lot of this is because of vibrations, but I honestly feel like a lot of length work has been overprescribed. Like if you just started, you're not going to need more than 20 to 30 minutes. In your first 2 years, it's going to be about 40 to 60 minutes. And then when you get to like expert mode, year 3 is probably going to be about 60 minutes. But planned breaks and everything else can keep you in that 40 to 60 minute range. Okay. Is doing tunica release daily also okay? Bundle scrapes and BFR massage? More than likely. You can think of that as like mobility work. So it's not particularly fatiguing, but it's not going to like kill you if you constantly do it, right? So there's going to be a point where it might not be beneficial. And I need to get shorter apparently. What's on your thigh? I am wearing an all-day stretcher right now. And I might have to go off camera and adjust it in a second. Oh. Yeah, give me like 2 seconds, guys. Oh, that hurts. So I had a ball stretch, not a ball stretcher, a cock ring on with it, and I was just digging into my skin too much. So that's what the discomfort was, not the actual stretcher itself. But again, the idea is to be as massive as possible, at least what I'm testing. So like I'm trying to be basically near erect size all day without being overly fatiguing. So that was probably, I did 2 pumping sessions already. I've already did my working session for length. And then this all-day stretcher has been on for about 2 hours already. This is like retention to the extreme Jasper. So what are you going to do when you reach your end goal of 10.5 inches, I assume? Will you focus on foreskin restoration? Well, first I got to get my girth up to like 7. I think that's going to be my limit. So 10.5 by 7, that's going to be, quite frankly, a ridiculous dick, right? So that's the goal. And then I'll do foreskin restoration. Yes, boy beaty making all the gains, all kinds of gains, yeah. Like, this vacation really changed my body for whatever reason. Like, so I can't really see in this lighting, but my arms are a lot bigger. My torso is just ridiculous lately. And then with PE, I'd probably put on like an 1/8 an inch just on vacation. I don't see myself getting much bigger physically because I'm already wearing like 2X dress shirts, 2X hoodies, and I still wear XL or XL tank tops and t-shirts because they can stretch a bit more. But like, it sucks trying to get bigger than this, I would say. Like getting up to like 240, 250, no clothes, all seats are uncomfortable, and then the health issues associated with it. And if I do get more muscular, it's just going to make my dick look even smaller. So Tamor, I think you missed this. I have been on a cut since yesterday. So give me 6 weeks and I'll look a lot better, but it's not like I'm terrible now. You know, I have top abs. It's just I have a big gut, you know, like a physical big gut. But like, I'm probably about 14 to 15% body fat. Like if you saw my ass and hamstrings, you would probably think I'm lower. Top, not so much. So like split the difference, 15%. If I lose 5 to 10 pounds over the next 2 months or so, I'm going to be safely in like the beach body zone. So, you know, let's just give it time. Oh, let's see, Steve. So trim 50 minutes to 30 minutes removing tunica bundles due to vibration. Yes. And I thought you were waking dream with that profile picture for whatever reason. I got about 9 minutes left, guys, and then I got to get ready for a meeting. So drop your questions now if you have them. What do I do currently for cardio? So last month I really slacked on cardio just because I was so fucking busy. But I got back to doing 15 minutes of incline treadmill. And then I'm actually doing like a mini workout during then. So it's going to be like either arms or abs in the morning. And then another 15 minutes of elliptical. So I'm getting about 30 minutes there. And I'm getting whatever I'm walking with my dog. And that's probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Soccer balls increasement to you? You mean like increasing the size of your testicles? I would do it if I didn't already have like classically large testicles to begin with. So it's probably not that hard. Like any tissue put under pressure over time will grow and expand. It's just depending on the tissue, it's going to be slower than other tissues. I'd say 5 inches of mercury for about 20 to 30 minutes. Ball pumping is probably going to be all you really need. And that swelling sticks around a while since it doesn't really have any strong lymphatic channels. You just got to be careful of not developing a varicocele, which is when the testicular spermatic ducts and veins get swollen. And yes, join the Discord. Thank you, Steve W. Check off. ABD, script my question about P-Shot. It showed up in chat. Sorry. I did read it, if that helps. Okay. I'm considering P-Shot every 4 to 6 weeks for 6 shots. How can I maximize results? So I should be doing more hypoxia training. I don't know about that, actually. Certain supplements to maximize platelet count, more training volume. So I did try P-Shot for about 3 to 4 times, okay? I cannot say for certain that it actually caused more growth after the fact. I did have a lot of swelling for the first 2 shots, but afterwards, not nearly as much swelling. What the beauty of P-Shot is that it increases platelet count, right? So you can heal faster. And if you're doing penis pump and you're a newbie, and that way you can get dramatic results that way. But let's say you just started PE, you're going to have more benefit having those 6 P shots in the first year. And then the next 3 years are going to be a lot more fruitful because you just have more builders in the tissue. So you're basically priming yourself to be a faster responder, not necessarily being a fast responder right off the bat. It's like hiring more workers in the penis with P shots. And I think that's another reason why I've been growing so fast this year is that I'm finally healthy. I can finally sit down and do PE. I already have a lot of stem cells in my penis from all the other P shots shit I've done. So now I'm growing really fast compared to what I used to grow at because of it. But it could also be just because of vibration. So I just need more data. Yeah, so it's kind of like compounding interest, Jack. So like your first year of with the, savings account, you're not going to get that much, but like after 5 to 6 years, the interest compounds. So you're gaining money on money you didn't put in. It's kind of like that. Okay, does a lot of intercourse thwart progress? Probably not. Like, you would have to be having sex like 3 to 5 times a day for it to really fuck up PE. You're more likely to fuck it up with masturbation. So take that a bit slower. I literally can't believe someone like you exists dropping this info and answering questions. Long live BD. I mean, I don't know how accurate I am with that P shot stuff, but like when you think about it logically, that's what makes most sense to me, is that it's going to help a shit ton of healing in general, but like you're going to get most of your benefits long term in technically injury prevention and tissue overall health. That's why it helps a lot of older guys since their platelet count drops, or their stem cell count drops as they age. But if you can like super physiologically increase your stem cell count, you're going to grow super physiologically, granted that you have enough nutrients in the tissue. All right, guys, this is going to be my last set, so any straggling questions I'll get. But again, I got to make a hard break at 3:30 today. And hopefully I can work out a bit more intensely for you all tomorrow. I'm using B5 for platelets and pantothenic acid with doctors. Can you remind me that on Discord, Steve? Baga boy. Any thoughts on theater sets or deload on deload weeks / deconditioning? You should not do any PE during deconditioning. But again, feeder set's really complicated, I'm not going to lie. I don't have any data on it. I think if you do feeder sets in a deconditioning break, and like you're actually doing a true feeder set where you're not doing high pressures like working pressures, it will work. It's just what will happen is that your working pressure will then become your feeder set pressure, so you won't get like the full reset. But I'll try it out my next deconditioning break and let you guys know. For deload, it's probably fine to do feeder sets throughout it. I just don't know how optimal it really is. One last question. Is discoloration avoidable while pumping? I mean, it can be. You just have to you can only be under pressure for like 5 minutes, and you have to pump up really slow, and even then you'll get some kind of darkening. Mainly you'll have a reddish hue because those blood vessels will get bigger in the skin, right? So it's not a huge deal, but I would not be too concerned about it because all you have to do is do some skin peels after the fact. And this is what I'm having Red work on, is figuring out a good skin peel solution that we can do with PE to prevent discoloration. So the more skin we shed, the less likely we'll have discoloration. So a bit of skin peels, exfoliation, and moisturizing. You shouldn't have any discoloration if what we work out is true. But it's going to take us a couple months to figure out manufacturing protocols and everything else. So just give us some time. Okay, guys, I will see you tomorrow, same time, 2:30 Eastern.